Hey team, how are you? And welcome to the Experience with Rehman Cee, where we talk to real people about real life and their real stories. So I've got Maru here today from Guatemala, and we're going to have a chat with her. Maru, how are you?
Hi, Rehman. Well, I'm great. I'm actually from Honduras. I got you there. uh,
I feel so bad. All this time, I wrote it down somewhere and I got it confused. But tell me
it's
about
fine.
Honduras.
Excuse me?
Tell me about Honduras.
We are a beautiful country. We are a lovely country in which I believe more people should know about us and more people should come and visit so that you can discover all of the beautiful things that we have.
Yeah. So what would you say? Is it the beauty, the natural beauty? Is it the people? Is it the food? Is it the history? Is it all of the above? Is it
It's a
anything
little bit
specific?
about, it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
People. I believe when we travel around the world and we're Hondurans, um, we're definitely happy people. Um, we express our happiness. We are very loud. We laugh very loud. We are people that hug and people that kiss and people that are always stalking and people that we have great attitude. And so I would say people is we're great. And also I can say there's a lot to discover. We have beautiful islands and it's just a matter of you coming over here.
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
a little bit more.
Yeah. And so where do you think that happiness culture comes from? How do you feel that originates? Because, it's different cultures in different countries. So where do you have any idea of how that happiness culture originated or what you can attribute it to?
Yeah, well, definitely discovering Honduras comes from England. It's Spanish colonization as well. We did have some England colonies on this islands that I told you about. And so they stayed there in those islands, which is called, one is called Roatan, another is called Utila. And so the English people that stayed there, then, started having kids with Hondurans, and then only in that part of our country is that they speak 100% English. And then our other part of the country was colonized by Spaniards. And so it's we have a little bit of everything. And well, we also have a nice culture, which is called Garifunas, that comes from Africa. So we do have a lot of culture that comes from Africa. We have good music, um, different. We are different. You get to see a lot of different people on our country and different traditions, food, and it's just amazing to be multicultural.
Yeah, yeah. I'm ready. I think I'm gonna fly there right now. I'm ready to come and check it all out.
If you could,
Sounds
I know
fun.
you would.
You up?
If you could, if you could travel right now, I know you would. But
Yeah,
since
yeah.
we're
I think you need to do some live streaming from there and send us some like images and stuff like that. Maybe do a show about Honduras.
definitely.
So let's get into the show. My question to you, Maru, is what's your message to the world?
Wow, what a deep question to start with. You want to get my brain already working. Well, my message to the world, that's a beautiful question. Whew. Um, I think about be your own best friend. Take care of yourself. Take care of your heart. Take care of your mind. Take care of everything that is around you and take care of what comes in and what comes out. So, being your own best friend, I believe if we could understand that a little bit better, life would be much more beautiful to each one of us, you know.
Wow.
Uh, yeah, I believe it's hard to get to that point, but well, be your own
Well,
best friend.
you say it's hard to get to that point, but it's one of your conclusions on life. So walk me through how you got to that conclusion. How did you get to this philosophy? Let's take it all the way back to day one. Let's take it back to mum and dad. Talk to me about your parents. How did they raise you? What was their parenting style?
Well, how can I say this? When I was one, we moved to LA, to Los Angeles. My parents decided they wanted to move to United States, in search of a better life, of better opportunities. And so we went there when I believe I was almost one. But then my parents didn't get along. Things weren't working out. They were hitting themselves. They were being violent. They were using violence in our household, in a household that then turned into a car. Which now I found out that we used to live in a car because of the economic situation. Which I don't know if I'm getting a little bit stuck in there, but which a different reality for my mother, who came from a family that were politicians and lawyers, and for her to be in that situation was definitely something different. And it wasn't good for her. It wasn't good for him, and of course, it wasn't good for a baby that wasn't even a year old. So there's where my grandparents come in the picture, and they say like, okay, they told my mom, then come back to your country. um, there's no need for you to be going through that with your baby girl, and just come back. We're here to help. And so I started growing up in a for me, for me, in my head, in my world, it was a very difficult situation because, I mean, I know it was a baby, but then you start growing up and not quite understanding what's going on. I used to look at my grandfather and I used to understand that he was my father, but then you grow up and then you're like, okay, so I understand that he's my grandfather now. Then who's my dad? And you have so many questions. Um, you have so many things in your head, and then it's when I started asking, like, do I have a dad? Like, who is he? Where is he at? Because I knew nothing. Like, when I grew up, I had no clue about his existence because no one would talk about him. And that would be like, if I could sum it all up, that would be how I grew up, just like with a mom that was also confused in life, and she didn't quite have the best decisions taken at that time when I was pretty young. And then it was a chain of her not making good decisions that definitely um, crashed or affected my life, my sister's life, because I have three sisters. And but at that moment I only had one, because my other sister, she's a little bit younger than I am, and I have another sister which I had no clue she existed. Um, so at that time, only my biggest sister, which she's 2 years older than me, we were both living with my grandparents and just understanding that we had a mom who would come certain days and would leave and then come again, probably for a couple hours, and then leave again. So
So you're the second eldest, and describe your mother a little bit more. So and then you didn't have any relationship with your father at all after that?
well, after that, I started, wanting to know more, wanting to understand, because of course, growing up and being a teenager, it brought a lot of problems in school, a lot of problems with in my house with my grandparents, them not understanding why was I behaving the way I was, not even teachers, no one around me. could understand. Not that I mean, I didn't even got asked what was going on with me, which is something that um, I really encourage parents to speak to their kids or to talk to their kids if you're in a house with kids. Like, make them speak out, because there's always a reason behind your decisions. There's always a great reason behind your acts. So then I started wanting to know more, and then one day I asked them directly instead of them coming to me and telling me, okay, so you have a dad, this and that, and that didn't happen. And it was like, okay, so I know I have a dad because I definitely know that I have a dad. I want to know his name. Could someone please tell me his name? And there's where everything started. I mean, I had a very bad relationship with my mother, so that day was probably the first day we spoke like a real conversation. And she told me, well, his name is this, and well, he lives in LA. I haven't heard from him since we moved back when you were 1 year old. And well, I don't know anything. I don't know much of. I don't know if he. I have no clue. She said, and that's all she said. She didn't take me to her life with him. She didn't walk me through how he had met him, or I mean, she had met him, or anything like that. I believe it was very uncomfortable for her. And then one day, and this is funny. My older sister, we have different dads, and so her dad came to me one day, and he was like, you know what? Because we were all musicians. My dad and my sister's dad, they were both musicians, and they played in the same rock band. So he was like, you know what? Do you know that you have a sister? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Do I have a sister? Yeah, well, your dad, he has another daughter. She's older than you. Her name is this. And would you like to meet her? And I was like, sure, let's do it. And when I met her, she started um, taking me through that story about who he was, and then just one day I was like, okay, can you help me out, like getting his number or his email or something? And then I wrote a letter to him, and I was like, hi, well, nice to meet you. um, and then we started speaking. We started doing having conversations online, and trying to have a relationship. It's weird to say that to someone that you just met. Or when I received he would say I love you at the end of his calls, and I would go like, you're I don't know who you are, like, why are you saying this to me? And it's weird also to receive an I love you from someone that you will go, really? Would you think you love me if I've just met you? And I obviously gave him the opportunity to give me his side of the story.
Yeah, so that's very interesting. So there's a lot there to kind of unpack. Even it's almost like something that you watch it, in a soap drama. Do you get what I'm saying? It's very dynamic. So you say that parents should talk to their kids. If the kid is having a problem, then the parents should talk to the child, right?
Definitely.
Your
Definitely.
mum, you said, was experiencing issues, so she had problems. What do you
Yes.
think her issues were that she was not normal, not as normal as normal people are as mums?
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, I don't believe there's normal people. We all go through different paths and journeys, and we are who we are. No means to disregard what I just said, but I now know what happened to my mom, and she experienced something that I am not. I mean, I couldn't talk about something that happened to her, and it's something that I believe is on. If I mean, if the world will ever know about this story, I would rather her. I would rather for her to
Right, it's
tell
her
her
story
story.
to tell, not your story to tell. I got it.
Exactly. Yeah. And so she went through things that I now know. But if I could just sum it all up, I would say, um, just going through difficult, just being surrounded by people and not understanding what's going on around you, not understanding what's happening, and not being understood, not being heard. People, um, most of the time, we're shutting our kids up. Stop screaming, stop saying that. Just we're talking, we're adults, let us speak. And you're not really letting your kids talk to you. You're not really listening. You're hearing, you're not
You're not
listening to
present.
what they're saying. I'm a mom, and that is one of my main goals, to always be aware of what my daughter is trying to tell me, even if it's the smallest thing. So definitely one of the things I definitely believe in is that, okay, so we're parents for a reason, and we've known this world for a longer time than our kids. We must have learned something in that road, and just guide your kids. We are here to guide our kids. We are not, in my philosophy of life, I am not here to make my daughter someone that I want her to become, or I don't want to my for my daughter to do the things that I want her to do. I want to guide my daughter. I want to be there. I want to listen to her. I want to listen to what she thinks, because every mind is a world, and we need to be understood. So definitely, she wasn't being understood, and she wasn't understanding herself either. Like, she wasn't even close to understand her. Never. She was just trying to run away. She was just trying to feel better, and she wouldn't find that place. And that's one of our biggest mistakes. What I think that us as humans, we're always searching that peace and that happiness in someone else. And this is where you start, like, dating a lot, meeting a lot of people, getting married 100 times, because we're searching for this inner peace in someone else, because we think people have the feelings that we need. Like, can you give me my feelings? Can you give me happiness? And it doesn't work like that, you know.
Talk to me about your grandparents. How are they? What were they like? How were you raised?
um I really get a smile when you say your grandparents. I love them with all of my heart. I believe they're the greatest, like, persons I've ever met in my life. My dad, I love to call my granddad my dad, because he was my dad. He passed away 4 years ago, or 5. I don't like to count the years. For me, he's still alive. He's still with me. I still share everything with him. They have a beautiful story. And so they came and they grew so much as professionals and as human beings, that I believe I got the best example.
I think I've lost you for a second. If you can still hear me, then you might want to just refresh your browser. I think you've been kicked off, so you might want to just either refresh your browser, or um, you know, uh, come off and then come back on. Let me try that. Let me see if I can get you off. Let's see if we can get her back on. Yes, my apologies, guys. Obviously, it's Guatemala, and
Oh
hey,
no.
how are you? You good? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, welcome back.
Okay. Uh, I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No
Did
problem.
we lose the other part of the interview, or are we still good?
No, we're good. We're carrying on. It's still live.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry about that. I was so
huh?
inspired. Okay.
No, it's you're still inspired. It's we're
Yeah.
carrying on. It's just this is part of. You see, this is what people appreciate. This is just so authentic. The other thing is, we get frustrated when we have a crash like this. But I explain, you're in Guatemala. I'm here. We're having the luxury of this
Honduras.
conversation, huh? We're having the luxury of this conversation, and so we've got nothing to be ungrateful for. Do you get what I'm saying? If there's a technical issue, it's just small. It's nothing.
It's part of life. And you said Guatemala again. I'm from Honduras.
Oh man,
See?
you know why?
See?
Oh my God, Honduras, forgive me. It's in my head. It's locked because I have so much exposure. Or the most people I've met in New York and America have been from Guatemala than Honduras, and I don't know why. It's just more. Guatemala is more known and more familiar than Honduras, and it's just like, forgive me for that. I apologize. I will never say that again. I hope.
No
No,
worries.
it makes a big
Now
difference.
you're not in Honduras because you're gonna remind yourself like I remember that time when I spoke to Mud when I was saying Guatemala and it's Honduras. So I bet you're not gonna forget it.
Yeah. I totally am not going to forget it. Second time that third strike, and I'm out, so I can't make that third strike. So, so you was talking about your father had passed. He's still around. Yeah, and so they were a really good example of what it was to have as role models.
Yes, I mean I could go and I could spend my whole life talking to you about how incredible I think they are and how amazing they um, went through life. I, of course, now that I speak to my mom, my grandmother, she's 78 years old now. We are getting along so well. I've never thought that we could ever have a good relationship. Like not even like my wildest dreams. I would never guess that now that I'm a mom and that we get along so well. I now am able to know a little bit more about not only the good stuff, that happened in their lives. Now I am getting the whole story from her side, and it's great to hear it because probably she could probably think that I could or someone could judge her, but then you go like, wow, that's part of life. I'm like, it's part of the journey that each one, you know, um, has to go through, and that's her story. And I take everything as a great example of great people and achieving amazing unimaginable stuff that my grandparents reached and really accomplished, which is fabulous. So as I'm telling you, I could go on my whole life to speak about them, but if I can sum everything up, I could tell you I was definitely blessed, and I was gifted with two incredible people who taught me and still teach me a lot of life.
Yeah, so for us listening to that, it's a little bit abstract. Like, can you give examples of why they were so great? What were they doing, or what was their lessons they taught? How were they good?
Okay, so my grandparents, they were born and raised at this little, like the smallest town ever, which is called Olanchito. And this is a town which is very known for having a lot of artistic uh, people and people who love to read and people who love. And so the biggest like writers, painters, poets from our country, most of them come from that small town. So my dad, he would love to read, he would love to write, and he would like to be the most um, just having education, just knowing about life, and just trying to be better each time. So he became like how can you say this, like a town mayor, um, I think,
Yeah.
when he was 17, because that was possible at that time. And then his dream was to become a lawyer and also a politician. So it's amazing how he can come from a childhood where he had no shoes, and he would walk in the dirt and things like that, and sometimes they wouldn't have anything to eat, and there were so many of them. Like, their family was so big that they would just share leaves, plants. I don't know how they survived. And then going through, like, so many much years later, he came to the city, and he became one of the biggest lawyers of our country. He then worked side to side to with one of our presidents, and he accomplished a lot of beautiful things that he would just believe in that. And then he would travel all over the world because of his job. And he was a romantic with my mom, with my grandmother. And so they would go to New York, they would go to Paris, they would go to everywhere. So then you go back and you were like, this is the story of a little kid that loved to read and had a lot of dreams that came true because he made them come true, because he worked for that, you know. So it's such a beautiful story.
Yeah. And so what was it that his advice or your grandmother's advice was for you about life?
About life.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Oh, my dog's very happy. Well, I would say that growing up was always difficult with my grandmother, because she was born in 1944. And well, I'm 31 years old. I was born in 1989. You would think of how, how different we can be, how our lives were different growing up, how for her it's been difficult to just move on with the world itself, even with technology. So understanding each other, it's been definitely a challenge. But she has taught me so much beautiful things. For example, like, one of her advice will always be, learn everything that you can learn. Never underestimate a job or something that you can learn, because you how understanding or getting to do something is going to help you out in life, or you can help other people do that. And so she would always say, if you're going to learn something, learn it the right way and learn it the best that you can. Okay. And they will always say, like, if you are going to envy someone, or if you want to be like someone, always grab the positive in that person. Okay. And another thing, she is one of the kindest women I've ever met in my life. And that's why I believe she's always been blessed. And this is something that she tells me in her house. She's gone through so many different things. I mean, she had cancer. Now she lost her husband. She's the biggest sister of 9 sisters. um she's gone through a lot in life, and still she's always positive, and still she doesn't lose, like, her spirit of wanting to help other people. And she will never regret helping others. And I just believe this is an example that she doesn't even know she's given to all of us, because it's something that she does every single day.
So how many kids did they have?
Okay, so my grandparents, they had 3 kids, 2 daughters and 1 boy.
Okay. And your mum was the youngest?
My mom, no, she was the middle one. She was the
Okay.
middle one.
Okay, cool.
Hmm.
So, so talk about your journey from there. We're talking about this philosophy of being your best friend. This is what we're trying to tackle. So, talk to me about your journey from childhood to now. What has it been?
Oof. It's been such a roller coaster in my head, right? In my head, of course, in my world inside of me. It's been a lot of up and downs. It's been weight issues. It's fighting is it's been losing people that you love. It's not, so growing up, I remember being and feeling frustrated because I wanted to be the best person in the world, and then something would happen and I would just explode, or I would just start screaming at that person that I had in front, or I just couldn't handle things. I just couldn't, like, um I wouldn't finish things also. I was just give up all of the time. um I found myself in probably two times in my life where I was not feeling anything, where I was just empty inside. Where, like, at that moment, my only thoughts were, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. I don't understand. I'm not feeling good, you know? And I didn't want to be here because I didn't understand. And I was always searching for those answers. And I just wanted to be the best person. But when I tried, that wasn't happening. So I was like, I was always blaming myself. I would always think that I was the worst. I would always believe that I wasn't enough for the people who surrounded me. Um, and so it was a tough teenage years, because then I started not making the best decisions. And then, your parents come and scream at you, and you're like, you're not going out anymore, and you're not doing this, you're acting crazy. And they couldn't understand me. Um, but I couldn't understand myself either. I couldn't tell you what made me stay, but it was hard for me at that time to understand that I needed to love myself, that there's no need for me to try and seek for that um, acceptance from people. I didn't understand that everything was inside of me. So it's very funny what I'm going to tell you. I don't know how you guys are going to take this, but then I'm a singer, right? I've always loved to sing. So I would just all of my energy, and when I felt like so sad and angry and that just wanted to go like very far away from my house, I would just start singing very loud, of course. And then after probably 5 songs, I would feel good. I would feel in another planet, like. And so one day, one of my favorite singers is Ricky Martin, or Ricky Martin. I don't know. Um, so he wrote a book, right? And so I was like, okay, I love him. Obviously, he was my first concert ever when I was 6 years old. Uh, and so I always followed his career. Oh, my dog is very into something there. I'm sorry.
Don't
So,
worry. If you need to deal with it, you can deal with it as well. It's no problem.
okay. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to buy this book. I'm very interested. And so it came to my surprise that I bought a book believing I was going to read about music, about concerts and about. And then to my surprise, it was way deeper than that, you know? And it was just like a gift from the universe for me, because there was no way in the world that I could have started reading or knowing about certain things if it weren't for that book specifically. he started speaking about his own journey and how, you know, he opened a whole world for me of getting to know each other, of loving yourself and accepting yourself, and precisely that, and starting to understand who you are first. Even if even if the answers are not as clear, there's a point that you can definitely understand where you come from inside. Like, where is this feeling coming from? Where do I want to take, what do I want to do with this emotion? What do I want to become? Who do I want to become, you know? And so that book led me to start asking myself so many questions. And he's been such a role model for me, like in music wise, but then he started being this role model in this aspect with just um being good to you, being good to others. And this is where I started reading a little bit more about wellness, about um mind health, if you might say. And that started a whole new world for me. So that happened when I was 20. So I would say that was 11 years ago.
Yeah. So what's been the journey since, from there to now?
From there to now, it's been amazing. It's been amazing because every day I am uncovering a lot of I am now understanding where my feelings are coming from, why am I feeling this way. I started accepting that I needed help, you know. And then I started accepting as well that I wanted to have that help in my life, that I wanted to feel good, that I don't want my happiness to be in the hands of something, an object, you know, pair of shoes. Because I discovered that I was like, okay, my paycheck, you know, I'm gonna go shopping, and I felt so bad inside, and I was like, I'm gonna go shopping. You know, we're always trying to cover our feelings with something, and then I would get that, and then the next day that wasn't new. Now the next day, that thing I bought was already an old thing already. So I discovered that my happiness was definitely not there, and I started realizing what I'm searching for is I'm definitely not looking where I should be looking. And so I kept, you know, trying to discover a little bit more, continue reading and taking time, being patient. I started taking care of myself, taking care of me, and understanding that there's never ever in life going to be a person who can take care of you, who is going to give you all that you need. You have to start with yourself. You are the person who needs to love you more than anyone, right? Because no one knows what's inside of here. No one knows what you think. No one knows what your struggles are, right? Because I can tell you, oh my God, I went through this. And then another person can just tell you, that's not that bad. What are you crying for? You know? So only you inside of you, only you know the struggle. Only you know how hard it can be for you to move from this point to this other point. So if you're the only person who knows that, why would you not take care of yourself? Why wouldn't you, you know, apply or recognize that positive journey, positive things in your life? And then I just stopped. I stopped and I started enjoying life. I decided that I wanted to be, and that the time that I'm going to be in this world, I decided that I wanted to feel free, that I wanted to feel happy, that I wanted to feel good, and that other people also need to they need to be heard. They need to listen to things that are going to help them through their journey as well. And so this is why this interview for me, or I don't know, this I can say interview, I don't know, this time that we're spending
Conversation.
together is important for me, because it's been part of what of since I started the journey. I've been always wanting to share a little bit of my story, but of course, as I told you before, um, you cannot help someone that does not want to be helped. So that's the difficult part as well. So probably, through internet, we search for what we want to hear, the kind of topics we want to listen to. So I just really wish that what we're speaking, and I mean, I definitely congratulate you for the job and the work you do around this topics, because I definitely believe that you're helping a lot of people out there.
Thank you. So you said you wanted to be happy, but you also bought stuff and you were happy. What is your definition of happiness?
Well, I thought I was happy, right? I thought I was happy at that moment. Just you think you're happy when you're having an instant gratification moment. And yes, it can be exciting, and it's for me it's fine if you want to have something, if you work for it, if you can get it, that's great. I mean, it depends on the decisions and how people want to go through life. But my I don't have a definition for happiness, but if I could explain a little bit more, it would be just one, as I told you before, feeling free. Just feeling free of being who I am, just taking my time, not judging myself, loving myself, because that love is going to lead you to surprising roads. It's just, you're just flowing, you're just being, and everything starts to happen once you have like also a clear view of what you want to achieve. Um, for example, one thing that makes me happy is understanding what I want in life. Because I used to think, for example, as a singer, I would always think, oh my God, I have such a great voice. Why wouldn't I be the most famous person, singer, actress in the whole world? And then one day I decided to understand, for me, this is very valuable to understand that talent is not going to get you to places. For me, what's going to get you to places is discipline, habits, good work, you know? And I have one friend who he didn't sing at all. He was just he would play instruments, and he tells me a lot that he wouldn't sing, not a bit, not a bit. And then now he's one of the greatest singers I know, because he decided to spend his time just learning about that thing that he wanted to be and that thing that he wanted to become, and he decided to put all of his energy in that. And so for me, I am one person that definitely um, enjoys his talent, his art, that I now know that is a conclusion of many, many years of hard work. So that's even better for me.
So you said you understand yourself better now. So tell me, who are you? What's your identity?
Wow. What a nice what a nice question. I don't know if I'm ready for this. You know what? I can tell you I am energy. I am energy because I don't want to write a book and tell you, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. All right, done this, did this already. I want to enjoy. I'm a person that wants to enjoy everything that I want to enjoy. I want to stop. I want to really take my time to enjoy the time with my family, with my daughter. I want to be able to listen, to really listen to her. I want to take the time of feeling love, of feeling music, of experiencing new things like this lovely conversation that we are experiencing. And so I'm a person that it's, um, I'm surprised, and I'm letting myself get surprised, but by what the world and the universe has. I want to discover. I want to know. I want to get to know that. So I'm just a piece of energy that is willing to take positive things in my life, and I want to help others in the way I am possible to do so. And I want to I would really would like to be heard. I would like that my story, my words um, could be received by the ears that need positive words to feel better and to be better.
Talk to me about, you have a child. You only have one child.
Yes, I do.
So talk to me about the relationship, and what happened there, and talk to me about where you are with your dad, with your biological father.
What was the last question? Sorry, where what? With my
Where you
biological
are
father?
currently with your biological father.
Okay, so first question, my daughter, it's funny, when I was 21, I wanted to become a mom because that was one of the things that I thought was going to make me happy. You know, I was like, okay, I'm not being understood, I'm not being heard. I want to have a kid so that I can do uh everything that was not done with me, so I can play with her, so I can listen to her, right? And now that I go back and thinking, wow, I'm so thankful I didn't get pregnant when I was 21. um, and then just things happened. I got married. My husband, he's Mexican. And then um, we were already married for 2 years. We were looking to have a baby. And then I just wouldn't get pregnant. And then I would think I would probably not have kids. And that's probably it. And then now, I just started just thinking that I should just accept that because I was not getting pregnant. And then, I just started working out. I was a little bit overweight. I started working out. I started eating right. And just like in a matter of a month that I started doing that, I got pregnant. And it was such a surprise for me. I think I wasn't ready. Like I, I don't know other people's experiences, but at the moment when they told me that was a reality, that shook my world. It was a huge surprise. I've never felt like that before. And obviously, when you cannot figure out what that feeling is, it becomes a scary feeling because it's unknown. So I was like, wow, what am I going to do now? I'm like, I can even take care of myself. Like, what am I going to do now? But I was feeling excited that day. And then the news started getting into my system, and I started to get the idea of it is really happening. And so it's been wonderful. It's been such incredible road. I believe I believe in my case, there's no way I would have learned if she weren't here. Or I mean, I don't know, but I definitely know that I've grown so much, and that being a parent for me has been such a school of life, because we tend to think that we know it all because we've read a couple of books here and there, and because you think you're controlling your life, and then comes your kid and definitely tells you, you don't know anything. like, right? And so it's so much fun because she leads me through this amazing path where and then your abilities are proven there in every single day, every circumstance. My patience is being tested. My just all of the things I want to become are being are put into a test every time I'm with her. Like, okay, you wanted to become all right, here you go. Here he goes. Come on, prove it, you know? And that's how I like to play with myself inside of my head. Having my daughter has helped me understand that sometimes us as humans can be so selfish. And as I told you at the beginning, wanting for our kids to have what we want for them or what we wanted to become and couldn't achieve. Okay, so that you go ahead and do it. That's not the way I think. I'm definitely here to just be by her side and let her, choose whatever she needs to choose. I
Cool.
hope so.
So being a mother, so how do you, like I said, how do you understand your parents now, your biological parents? Do you relate to them
um,
differently?
I do. I do. I definitely did not understand what parents go through. And now I understand, not that I accept, but now I can understand why parents just go. Just why would they leave their kids like that? It's a tough experience. It's for brave people, I believe. In my mindset, there's no way that a kid should be left alone, in the streets by itself. I know situations can change from story to story, but if it's hard for you to keep your kid, just take him to a safe place, right? And it's a tough journey, but definitely my relationship changed because then with my daughter, I got to understand all of the sacrifices, all of the hard work, and all of the love that's put into every single minute of the life of someone else. And you were asking about how's my relationship with my biological father. I currently, I currently don't have a relationship with him. I decided that that wasn't a person that I wanted in my life because we just couldn't get to a point to understand each other. If I could, just say it in general terms, there wasn't a moment where we could just understand each other, and I know that we were all different. Um, but us as humans, we are always trying to change people. We are always trying to make them do what we want them to do. We are always want people to do the things when we want them to do them. And so when I realized that I was in control of the people who are around me, or at least most of the time, I can have probably that control on how close can I allow someone to come into my life. Um, I decided that he wasn't going to be a person that I want in my life, unfortunately.
Okay. So let's talk about something a little bit deeper. Let's go into the big picture. Talk to me about whether you believe that the universe, even before humans came into existence, whether the universe is random or non-random. Do you think the universe came into being by chance, or do you think it's intentional?
That is a great question. That is a great question, and when you and we have this conversation with my grandmother. Um, she always we always, I mean, this is something that she does. She would always look at birds she would always stop and stare and look how birds act and how they look. And we would all like always mention the colors and the feathers, colors in different animals, that they're so amazing. And it's how they naturally are. They're not waking up, and putting some makeup on, their feathers, or they're just like that. They're beautiful. And I mean, that's how we perceive it. I mean, my family and I, we perceive that as something amazing. When we stop and stare and look at how animals, uh, moms protect their kids, and I mean, they're, I don't know how you say it, kids and animals.
Yeah, infants,
Well,
they're cubs
yeah,
or whatever the names are.
yeah, exactly. How they take care of their family, it's amazing. And for example, when a woman gets pregnant, and you realize that that person came from a small, like, cell, and then grows up to be a person with fingers, with eyes, with eye color, and every detail, I definitely believe that there's a huge reason for us here.
So you believe
All
that
of
the
those
universe
details.
so you believe that the universe is non-random.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So if you have something that's non-random, then generally speaking, anything that's non-random is by design. So if things are by design, nothing is ever designed for no reason. No artist paints a picture for no reason. There's always imagination, there's always something that they're trying to express, right? What
Hmm.
is the design for the human being? Why are we here?
Wow, we here. You know what? I definitely wish I had that answer. I don't think I've ever heard or known someone that has an answer for that. I mean, an answer that I want to believe in. Um, I'm still searching for a complete answer to that question. But in the meantime, and for the life I'm deciding that I want to have, I want to say that I want to say the word love, even if it might sound romantic, cheesy. I don't know how you can take that, but in my world, I don't want to go deeper than that. Sometimes making myself those kind of questions just gets me into a huge struggle, that I probably would never get out of that if I just start searching, or trying to look for an answer. I want to i want to keep just having the word love in front of me and being part of me all the time.
Why do you think the universe was created for love?
Wow. For me, it has to be. There's so many of us. There's so many of us, and I've seen amazing human acts towards others that makes you really realize there's something deeper there. When we as humans want to be amazing, we can, and you can see amazing stories as well. I think we need to love each other and be better every day.
But how does that serve the universe? Do you get what I'm saying? Like the universe you're saying is non-random, it's intentional. So the universe has created human beings to love, but how does human beings loving each other serve the universe?
Oof. I definitely wouldn't know that. You got me there. I definitely. I we can we and I mean, I want us to be friends because we spend a lot of time in my living room with my cousin, and with my grandmother, and with my husband, and we start speaking about this whole different ideas that we have, and different theories that we like. everyone has different ideas, theories, things that they believe in, and then we just start like I wouldn't say fighting, but the outcome it's not so good. So I want us to be friends still, and I'll definitely don't have an answer for that. We still have. I mean, I have interesting sessions with my family about trying to answer difficult things, difficult questions. Um, but probably we're here to understand that or to discover that. I can tell you.
Okay.
I can.
So what is the normal kind of beliefs in Honduras around this? What have you like? Obviously, it's probably is it a high Catholic country like the rest of South America? What about the native belief? How do you understand that? You know, how do they explain things?
Hmm. Well, mostly yes. There's several religions here, but mostly Catholic is one. And as I told you, we have different different cultures in our country, and so they have their background as well. As I told you, um, it would be great for you to speak to a Garifuna once. I mean, it would be great for you to hear from one of our Garifunas to tell you a little bit about their past and their culture and their traditions. But I surely know that they are taking the path of their past. They're definitely staying with those traditions and taking care of their culture, even if they're part of Honduras. We're starting to be a little bit more, open to. Sorry, the allergies. We're starting to be a little bit more open with the respect that everyone deserves with their own beliefs. So I believe that's a good step.
What
At
did
least.
you call that belief system?
Sorry.
What did you call that belief system? I didn't get the name. The other culture.
Oh, the other culture. Well, the culture is called Garifuna, and they have like different, the different traditions that they believe in. Like for example, they do this like kind of it's a cultural thing that they have when someone dies, and so they celebrate their awakening in another place for them, and so they dance around what we call a rhythm which is called punta. So I'm just saying this like, just like from the top. It's much more deeper than that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's much more cultural than that, right? But this is something that they celebrate on the north part of our country.
yeah. And if you know anybody who can speak very good English and they're willing to come on board, I'm happy to have a conversation with them. I'm interested. Um,
Yes.
so so you believe in the universe, you believe in love. How do you connect with this belief in something? I'm assuming you believe that the universe is non-random, and you think there's something out there. How do you connect with that?
How do I connect with that? I connect with that very personally. Um, I definitely also respect people who like to express themselves and be heard about uh, their religious beliefs or spiritual beliefs. I respect that. But in my case, I believe it's something very um, intimate for me. It's very personal. It's something that I like to keep, and I wouldn't say even my family, right? Even in my family, we have different mindsets. We got different um in my the same house that I'm leaving right now, which is my grandmother's house, because I just moved from Mexico, and I had my home there, and I moved here, and then the whole pandemic started happening. So we're all here together, right? And so we're getting along so well, and it's funny because I would believe in something, my cousin would believe in something else, you know, they probably have different religious ideas. But in my case, I'm very, very personal and intimate with that. I like definitely to keep it to myself, and I connect um, as like from my inner part of myself. I connect with that.
Right, right. So I was just wondering if you had any routines or rituals or practices that you did to connect with that. But we can move on from that question. So talk to me. I've got a few questions left. Let's just ask a few short questions. Um, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. How would I define that? Most of the time, for me to express, it's hard. I mean, I have to go through a process to being nervous, being shy, and people never believe me when I tell them I'm shy. It's just that I decided that for me to achieve the things that I wanted to achieve, I needed to do other things that would probably could lead me there. So amazing things started happening to me when I decided to start speaking and to start doing is and to start showing people around me what I could do. For example, singing, as I told you before, or all of my job opportunities started happening once I decided to forget about those things that bring me back and make me shy. So every time, even when we were beginning to have our conversation, I was so nervous and my hands were all sweaty, and I was like, I was about to vomit because that happens to me. I get so nervous, and all of my feelings go to my stomach, and well, I so it's difficult to answer that. I would say an introvert that decided to be an extrovert just because things have worked out for me that way.
Are you an idealist or a realist?
Wow, you're making some tough questions to me today. Oh, I have no answer for that question.
Yeah.
I seriously, I don't. You would say I don't know what you would think of me not having an interesting answer for that. I don't want to. Um, I don't know. I do not have an answer for that. I don't know.
Okay.
As I told you before, I think I'm still learning. And so I don't like to define myself in something if I'm not sure yet. So
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Um, so are you emotional or rational?
Wow. As I told you, a little bit of everything. You know that I just found out that it seems like we have some part of how do you say this hormones, or it's not hormones. I know the word in Spanish.
Yeah, you can
um
say in Spanish.
I can say in Spanish. Okay.
Well, at least some people will understand
No,
it.
there's a part of your brain, part of like there's something in your brain. There's some hormones, okay, that that make you happy, the ones that start segregating that makes you feel happier, that makes you feel more comfortable. And there's been some studies that we have some of those in our stomach,
Right.
and that's why people, when we get so, in my case, as I told you, when I get so emotional, I just get deep pain in my stomach and in my abdominal area, and every time I get nervous, I have huge emotions, I just want to throw up. And so I am definitely, I would say, I'm more close to being emotional, but then it comes a time where probably I'm not being that shook by that emotion, and then probably someone else is more nervous than I am, and I will go rational just to help in the situation.
Okay. Are you risk averse or a risk taker?
Sorry, what was that?
Are you risk averse or are you a risk taker?
I'm a risk taker. Yeah, well, most of
Okay.
the time, I've been judged by my friends. They would go like, "Why are you so scared?" I mean, so it's been a little bit of everything, but I would say that most of the time, I will go ahead and just risk it and do it.
And would you say you're practical or intellectual?
I'm practical. I'm
Okay.
leaning more towards the. Mhm.
And then would you say you prefer certainty or uncertainty?
As I told you before, I believe as a natural, probably emotion of the human being is that unknown. The unknown is scary. So I believe it's not something that probably I choose, but always I tend to feel more comfortable when I think I know something. But then comes the part where you're a risk taker because you don't know. So it all mix up a little bit, mixes up a little bit.
Right. Okay. If you were to describe yourself as an animal, what kind of animal would you be?
An animal, I would be a butterfly.
A butterfly?
I would just, yes, yes,
So
I would
what are
like
the
to be a
qualities of
butterfly.
what would be the top three qualities of a butterfly you'd possess?
Top three, um, is the word evolve. It evolves. It transforms.
Yeah, it
So,
transforms from a caterpillar to a butterfly.
so it transforms. It's butterflies are free, most of them. You know, in their natural habitat, they must be free, and they're beautiful. They're colorful, beautiful. They're delicate but strong, and they can, they can travel at a very far uh, distance, so they can really achieve what they want. So that's great.
Cool.
They're no.
I have two questions left. One is, they say you're the average of the five people that you most hang out with. So
Sorry, can
you
you
are
repeat it?
you're the average of the five people that you most hang out with. You're the average of the five people you surround yourself with. Did that come across clear?
No.
They say
Can you
you're
come
the
again, please?
average. They say you're the average of the five people that you hang around with. What you surround yourself with, the five people, you become an average of them.
Oh,
So my
okay, okay,
question
okay.
is,
Oh, all right. Okay.
in a fantasy scenario, who would the five people be, past, present, or future, you'd want to hang around with?
Wow, what a nice question. Ooh. Uh, you know what? Princess Diana.
Okay. Why?
Uh, I don't know if it was because growing up, I would feel that she was part of my family. My my grandmother would always know everything about her. We would always like know what was going on with her. We would really appreciate her natural beauty, her natural kindness, and the way that she would naturally fight for her beliefs. And she wanted to be, she didn't want to feel limited for what she wanted to say or do. So that's admirable. I mean, just thinking a little bit about the position she was in, you know, and she decided to love her kids despite or anything, and nothing could get in the path of her giving love to others and sharing um, positive things with others. So she would win. Um, music wise, uh, I would keep the artistic Michael Jackson. I would keep the showman. I would keep the musician dancer. I believe if someone, I believe the person, the people who got to speak or to be around him in a recording studio or just a rehearsal, a dance rehearsal, I believe they could have probably learned a lot from his dancing skills and showman skills. That's two. Uh, you said five, right?
Right.
Wow. Um, we're never leaving
The interview.
the room. I admire so many people, but mostly most of the people I admire, they have to do with music, most of them. So I would say, mm, wow. There's this. How can I say this? There's this journalist. She's a Mexican journalist. I really admire her. Her name is Carmen Aristegui. And so I really admire that she's not your typical journalist or just the person that goes and repeats the the news. She said this happened and that happened and I have to learn this, right? She's also an investigator and she takes the time to really involve herself in her job. So that's admirable. I mean, even if in any profession, I think that's admirable, very admirable. So I got three there. I would definitely say my dad, my grandfather. I would just always love to keep him. Um, because sometimes I tend to still look for him. I'm gonna go tell my dad this, and they're like, oh, well, that's not possible. So I would just love to keep him around. And is that four?
Yeah.
And wow, that's a good question. Wow. Wow. I could stay with hmm. I just like people who have different that take the time to learn things very well. And so I don't know who to choose. I have so many people in mind that are actors, singers, but besides that, they help other people, and so I can think of so many persons, but I don't have one at the top of my tongue. Do I need to say it, or is something
No,
going to
no, that's
happen if I
fine.
don't?
If you don't have a number five, that's good. This is cool. So my final question to you is, what does success mean to you?
What does success?
Yeah, mean to you.
Success means to me to achieve what you really want to achieve, not what you need to achieve to get someone else's approval, not what you need to achieve to have not even your parents or your friends or your people around you. Is when you really achieve what you want as a person, your tiny little like goals you want to achieve in a day. Like you could say, wow, I really didn't want to eat that hamburger today, and I didn't. I definitely applaud myself for not doing that and taking care of my body. That is a goal that only you are going to be able to know how big it is. So for me, success is allowing yourself to be proud of your achievements for the goals that are for you and are with you and about you.
Excellent. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. What's your final message?
My final message is that I'll really try my best in speaking a little bit more about this stuff. I really like this conversation. I want to thank you again. And I want to say, once again, love yourself, love your own self, respect your own self, take care of your own self, and you'll start seeing better days. You'll start feeling better days. But start there.
Awesome. Maru, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the sharing and the openness and having a lovely conversation. And thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for the invite and 1 hour, 21 minutes speaking. Wow, incredible.
No, no problem. Take care. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye.